I think I've done it correctly this time as well. All right.
Figure out how to mute it ahead of time?
No, ladies and gentlemen, 3, 2, 1. We are live. ARMTV's live call-in show number 5. Bam. I think I've done it correctly. I don't hear anything.
No reverb.
No reverb. Phew.
Bang.
We have our guest host today, Uncle John, leading the charge this evening, and we have our future host joining us, Mr. Jake, Aussie arm wrestler. Welcome.
And there's my neighbor in the background there. You can say hi to everyone. They're just hiding. That's what happens. We don't have fancy studios here in Melbourne. We are just in our kitchen into our lounge room, so people will always walk past and things like that. You'll hear the dog. You'll hear everyone run around. So you've met my neighbor and my wife's run past. So things are, and you get an apology from my wife. So things are always great here.
Beautiful.
Okay, guys, I don't have a ton of time. You know, the missus, I think she's really into. I don't want to get in trouble, but she's like, hey, if you're working during the day, I want my nights. So
that Gary Roberts action.
It's this family time that I'm eating into, but I want to know a couple things. And I like that we do this little intro and then let you take over. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome. Be in the chat. All tips go to Uncle John. Oh, I feel bad because Jake's in here early. The deal is we have one host. He gets the super chats. It is basically working for tips. Our future hosts, hopefully Mr. Jake on another night. He almost co-hosted because Mr. Uncle John had a power outage.
Well, Aussie is here. We might as well split it. We'll split it.
That's all right. No, it's all right. Not right. Very nice of you, Uncle John. I just jump on here because the fact that I am first cab off the bench, you know, that you guys even contemplate giving me the reins and hosting. It's just that I'm very appreciative of. So no, this is all yours, Uncle John. In the future, maybe in the future, but at the moment, I just love getting on here with you two and everyone in the comments and just talking about arm wrestling. So that's beautiful. That's unfortunately that doesn't pay the bills, but that's good enough for me at the moment.
Well, thank you for being here. When I get off, be sure to plug all your channels. Quick little thing, because I don't want this to be about me, little old me. But I released my ROTN flyer, and I got a call from Bob Brown, and he basically said, your event will last 50 years with this format. He's like, you don't understand how many wins that is. And so to compromise, I already compromised by going down to 8 rather than leaving it wide open. But then to add another compromise, if you guys have been following at home, I put a time cap. With the 8 guys in the class, there'll be a 35-minute time cap. The 21 wins is designed for someone comes in and cleans house. Boom, they get out of there. Mm-hmm. If there's like a back and forth action, I recognize this thing could go on all night. So for this event, there'll be a time cap. At the time cap, it like if it's 12, 11, 10, 9, that'd be, or 12, 11, 10, that'd be first, second, third. Travis asked to take 4th place prize money and push it to 1st. So now we're just paying to 3rd. Anyways, for anyone out there confused about that, that's how we're controlling the length of the event. Bam. That being said, I don't know what topics you guys want to discuss, but I want to do a shout out real quick.
Yep.
I'm not 100% sure I understand all the details with the Ryan Bowen versus RVJ. But I want to say this, and I haven't heard this take yet. I think to grow the sport of arm wrestling, everyone needs to talk shit about Rob Vigent Jr. because when you call out Rob Vigent Jr., that boy is one funny dude.
Oh, hilarious.
He's winning the internet at the moment.
Here's the thing. Ryan Bowen, I have no idea if he can beat Rob Vision Jr. I don't know. I don't know much. I don't know. I remember Rob Vision. I'm looking over some footage. Rob Vision Jr. has a win on John Brzenk, 2008. You know, Rob Vision Jr. in my mind, he's up here. And Brian, I know you're going. I don't know if you're there or not. But Ryan Bowen, he's all business. If you listen to his videos, he's very all business. Rob Vision Jr. has a special place in my heart because dude is funny. I started to write down some of the things, like he said something about being in Walmart and finding the last Teddy Ruxpin. And I was like, oh my God, I just lost that shit. So if anyone out there, please send a message to Rob Vision Jr. Say, when I watched your first video, it was very respectful. And it's like, I get it. But then the other video that I just watched, he's like, what's your deal? I was respectful. You didn't take that. Now I'm gonna bang. And I loved it. I loved all his little Rob Vigentisms. I listened to the show last week when he was talking about, I don't know all the Rob Vigent aliases now, but that shit is gold.
Vigentikov.
Yeah. Everyone, if you're watching this show, please make videos talking smack to Rob Vision Jr. because I need more of that. If you do that, 10 of you all release videos and start saying stuff to Rob Vision. If he will make 10 more videos, my night will be met. So and another thing, I don't know what it is with this 50 grand business. That's like, why we got to go 50? That's bananas.
Well, that's why Rob put that number out there.
That's dumb. Let's get something achievable.
I think it was I believe it was more of a scare tactic. All right, you want to pull me? Put 50,000. Put 50,000 up. I don't think Rob thought of a number. He's just like 50,000, and you know what to do. And I think it may have backfired. And Ryan went, okay, let's do it. So yeah, Rob didn't think the number through. I believe it was just a throwaway number. And it's like, oh, that's too much because arm wrestlers, we don't have any money. So, but then Ryan counteracted and went, I can get it.
Well, so here's the thing. Ryan Bowen, he put out this, my business pound for pound. You and I, we sign a contract. We build my business. I mean, dude, the path you just spoke takes all the fun out of Rob Vision Jr. You're basically saying, hey, come on, be my partner. We blow this up together and we both make some cash. That doesn't sound, that's not, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Cat and mouse. This is a game of cat and mouse, right? So they're playing with each other right now. And the match is the mouse. And these two cats are kind of going after it a little bit. They're going to paw it over here. They're going to paw it over there. They're going to throw a fake mouse over there to try to distract a little bit. But at the end of the day, I don't know how serious both of them are, right? Is it all for real? Is it all hype? Is it a little bit in between? I think it probably is. And we'll be able to see in the next coming weeks if it goes more towards the reality angle or if it goes more towards the hype angle.
Yeah, because we've been in those hype angles before. I think we're just getting impatient as an arm wrestling world. We're not seeing much competition and things like that, especially from the big names. This all stemmed from, I believe, an Instagram post from WAL. It was a picture of Rob and said, who should have a shot at the hammer? And I think Ryan won the tagging game. So everyone was tagging Ryan Bowen, because he's got a good following. So then, of course, Ryan Bowen posts a photo saying, Rob, I'm ready. And then it's all kicked off. Ryan, on Ryan's end, he's serious. Wants the match, wants it to happen, will do what he can to make it happen because he wants to be the best in the world. And if you want to be the best in the world, you got to pull Rob Vision Jr. That's just the way it is. With Rob being probably the funniest man on the internet at the moment, he probably just doesn't see Ryan in that caliber. So he's not entertaining it as much. But if the money does get raised and Rob thinks this is an easy payday for him, well, of course he'll take the match. Especially if Ryan goes over, well, Ryan will try and get over there. So Rob doesn't have to do anything but pin him 3 times and win 50 grand.
Well, I think I've mentioned this before. Ryan Bowen, he is very good at what he does. I mean, the man knows the games in and out of arm wrestling, but not just that. He knows this social media game. He's really good at that. And I believe there's a little bit of everything in there. Rob Vision, I don't know if he's playing the game. It sounds really sincere that he's annoyed. And so if Rob Vision Jr., if you are playing a game, for the love of God, do not let me know. I do not want to know. I don't want to see how the sausage is made, because I love the movie. I love the sausage, and this feels really sincere.
Yeah, it does. It does feel genuine. It does absolutely feel genuine from RVJ, because he doesn't care. RVJ just is like, cool, you think you're stronger than me in this, and you think you're better than me in that. I don't think you are. And RVJ's just rebutting. That's all it is. I believe everything he's saying is just genuine. As in, he might not like Ryan, or thinks Ryan's not even close to him. There's he's a different cat, RVJ, and he's definitely he's hilarious.
Well, again, I don't know if you're out there, Rob Vision, but aside from the people going over to Dubai and having that explosiveness on their social media, him just coming out with these few videos in the last week or so, I've been looking at the dude is mad killing it and not even leaving his house yet. So keep that up. Listen, dude, the more social media stars we have, the better. So how we blow up the sport is all of you guys in the chat start talking shit to Rob Vision. We need more. We need more. Uncle John.
Yes, sir.
I believe Mr. Ozzy's going to be biased and not give me a good answer because of where he lives. What is your take on a Rob Vision Jr. and Ryan Bowen?
Well, it's interesting because, ARMPR, the Max Lift show, has really been kind of a catalyst, partially for some of this stuff, because I used Rob's lift, which was very impressive, as kind of an example of how to do the lift. And then Ryan came out with like the most absurd, worst form lift that has ever existed in the history of time. Now, was that intentional or not? Who knows? But that really pushed a lot of that forward. So I've been a little bit privy to some of the conversations that have gone on about that. And I do agree with Aussie that I do think that Rob is annoyed, at the very least. I think he's annoyed. I do think that he doesn't quite put Ryan in the same kind of power category. And I think that, as Rob also kind of thinks, as many people do, that Ryan has elevated himself above where he should be due to his social media presence. That's the kind of ideas that I think are kind of swirling around in here.
Okay, 2 things. The video I've watched of Ryan Bowen, I don't know, it was really ugly.
The one where he's grabbing onto a strap, and he's got the weights attached to a strap, and he's like down, and then he's like, meanwhile, Rob Vision Jr. goes, but
Rob Vision says you use just a warm-up weight of his.
Yeah, so he posted like 3 different, or he sent me 3 different videos of varying weights. This is the other thing, that arm wrestlers have no attention span whatsoever. It was like the contest started on Friday, and then people started immediately putting videos out, and like Engen lost his mind because there wasn't enough strictness going on. RVJ lost his mind because
you have created a monster, Uncle John.
Oh my God! Now I can't even call it the Engen curl anymore, because I can't even call it a strict curl, because people are so upset about this. and they can't
Uncle
figure it
John.
out. They can't even do the due diligence to watch the damn video to understand what is going on in this competition. If you are upset about it in the chat right now, get out of my freaking face because you haven't even watched the video.
Uncle
It's just
John,
for fun, for God's sake.
Uncle
good.
John, I know you're working on big things with Cobra Roads. I don't want to tell you how to do your channel, but for the love of God, you need to dedicate one night a week to talking shit about RVJ, whatever he's put out that week.
I do not want
Because-
to be the guy.
No, dude, we need mad RVJ, and somebody has to step up and be the hero.
I agree with that.
I should have filmed my wife the other night. She actually called out RVJ. I think it was last night. I had it on the TV. We were watching the "Don't Be a Mosquito" video, and we got about halfway through RVJ's rants, and then my wife turns to me and goes, "Is he going to drink his drink? Like, why have it in there?" So I should have filmed that. So my wife, who is 5'1", 50 kilos, has just called out the middleweight champ for not drinking his drink during a rant.
I've told you guys how to blow the sport up. Talk shit about RVJ, man. Get him mad. Mad RVJ equals clicks.
No doubt. There's no doubt about that.
Clicks. Okay, I've got 5 minutes. Uncle John, what are the small announcement. Derek Smith has his Dubai tickets.
Yes. When's he going?
He's going at the end of the month. He's going like 4 or 5 days before the end of the month. He'll be there in Dubai. Then he's going to Turkey to hang out with Mr. One Inginterzi.
Nice.
Ooh. So that's exciting because some people in the chat said Derek wasn't going. So here, he's getting on an airplane. That's what I needed to happen. All the funds have been transferred to Derek. He's 100%. Oh, no, sorry. I have one more. The Wells Fargo wouldn't let me transfer everything. I have one more small payment to make to him, and then he's paid off.
Nice.
So that's exciting.
Absolutely.
Very exciting.
At the end of the month, we'll start. I mean, I don't know how fast he'll be on the videos, but keep that in mind. What are the other topics going on, Mr. Uncle John?
So, I mean, Ryan and RVJ is certainly the big one. We still have Igor continues to put out videos, just absolutely like he says one thing one day and then it changes the next day. And then, you know, it's just all this craziness. And now I don't even really know what to think it is. I still think Igor might be trolling us all deep down inside, and he has a master plan for this whole thing. Because some of the stuff that they're doing makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
Maybe the subtitles are wrong. Yeah, but
That's possible too.
You're 100% right. He's just picked up a brand new award. Igor, he's picked up an Aussie award. He officially is the most hated man in arm wrestling at the moment. He is the winner. He's just overtaken Michael Todd's King's Move. Coming in third is Ryan Bowen, because it's Ryan Bowen. And number 4 is Bart Wood when he makes a bad call. That's my top 4 most hated people. And Igor has just skyrocketed to the top. So
I agree with that list. That's a good list.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Igor has a master plan to turn this all around. There's got to be some marketing savvy in there.
There has to be something in it for him to come out publicly, not just to respond to the internet. I think you're both onto something. There has to be something for him. He's made a living out of arm wrestling. He gets people paying thousands of dollars a year to compete at Zloty Tour. So there is something right. And he looks like a mafia boss, you know, like a end of level guy that I play on the Super Nintendo. So something's happening.
So ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there in the chat, we're talking about subjects that you can bring back to the conversation after I check out of here. We did forget to mention our sponsors. We have NatFit, Jamie Sheldon. products,
Look at that.
product placement. We also have Western Survivor, Adam from Canada. He's sending me more product. He says on March 1st, we are doing another raffle. So we're doing another table giveaway. So be sure to go to westernsurvivor.ca. He's working on cool stuff. He says if he blows up, if his company blows up, he in turn will blow up arm wrestling.
Awesome.
I don't know if you've had time to check, but on your diet, Mizel, there's no preservatives, there's no added, there's no nothing bad added to Western Survivor.
That is not how it works, Gary.
It's all
That's
good.
not how it works.
No. I eat like a caveman when I do paleo, and this Western Survivor is 100% on the okay list, and it tastes
Gary,
amazing.
You decided to fight Barry Bowen. I'm not listening to anything you say about nutrition or fighting or anything.
Oh, that being said, yes. And I'm top secret. I don't want to give anything away about what I'm doing. I want Barry Bourne to think I'm coming in 100% unprepared. So I am top secret. I'm not talking about anything.
You're not talking about anything.
Not talking, but I am posting a super match tomorrow, 2008, where I bitch slapped this dude. He thought he was going to handle me, and I bitched him.
Was it his first time ever arm wrestling?
It was his first tournament, but he came in cocky. It was an after
that's
pull.
All right then. That's a good video to watch.
I'm titling this video I'm posting tomorrow. And the funny thing is, RVJ Jr. was our ref. I'm titling this video the most embarrassing loss in arm wrestling history. Brody, you remember that shit when I bitch slapped you.
Brody.
Hope you're still arm wrestling.
Well, his name's Brody. Deserves to be bitch slapped.
Okay. I have something I want to discuss. I messed up, ladies and gentlemen out there. I had a sponsor. This guy, Gabriel, in Hawaii. He does hybrid seed. He has a great business, and he was assisting one Gary Roberts with ARMTV with a little bit of sponsorship money. And sadly, I forgot his super chats. I overlooked his super chats 2 weeks in a row. How in the world could I do that? So, you never know. Like, I just go live. I don't tell my sponsor. My sponsor doesn't tell me he's going on. And so when I'm talking, I'm looking down. In 2 weeks in a row, I missed his super chats. Not only that, he called me and he's like, "Hey, this is really important. My super chat. Can you ask Travis?" And then when I went live with Travis, I forgot to talk about what I told my sponsor I'd talk about. So like I effed up 3 times in a row, and my sponsor basically fired me. And he said, "I'm going to sponsor Uncle John instead, because Gary Roberts is full of excuses."
And you know what I did? I went to bat for Gary Roberts. So I'm talking to this guy, and I'm like, "Hey, man, Gary's good. We just gotta ease into this whole thing." Everybody, and I think it's a good example for like anybody who's interested in sponsoring like a person like myself, like the Aussie arm wrestler, like Gary. It's like you got to have like expectations, because when you go live, it's really hard to keep track of stuff sometimes, especially if it's off the cuff, right? If it's just in the chat and especially if you're dealing with Travis, right? Travis is like this crazy energy ball that you have to try to contain, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Just everybody should just relax.
It just sounds like Uncle John. You've been talking to this sponsor quite a lot, and then the sponsor's going back, and ARMTV's getting jealous, and the sponsor's going, "Oh, don't worry, Gary. Uncle John and I are just friends. We're just friends."
No, this is.
Then all of a sudden, he's just got rid of ARMTV, and then you're holding hands with this sponsor in the sunset. I've just looked at Facebook. Uncle John is now in a relationship. What has happened? You've just taken it from underneath him.
Hey, we had one email exchange. I haven't heard back yet. So Hybrid, hit me up, brother. Hit me up.
Well, I 100%. Here's the deal. I've been fired from most jobs I've ever had. I'm
No.
Is that how you lead with most new interviews that you're doing? You're
I'm
like, "Well."
I work well working for myself, but I try to do a lot. You know the thing where like you can be the master of one thing or
Mhm,
suck at everything or the master of one thing. When
mhm.
you do what we do, it's hard to be the master when you're trying to juggle 15 plates.
Sure.
And you drop broken plates sometimes, and it's like, I apologize for letting you down. So if you're out there super chatting, I appreciate it. I try to get them all, but every once in a while, we F up. And but if you do fire me, if there's one guy I could support you going to, it'd be one Uncle John.
I appreciate that, Gary.
Amen.
And then if
Amen.
Uncle John pisses you off, then Jake.
Yep.
Sniffing
Okay.
around like a vulture.
Guys, the link is in the chat. Uncle John, can you confirm you are host?
I have the ability to admit.
So everyone, thank you very much. Please join in. We love you all. Thank you for being here for the 5th Tuesday in a row. We'd love to keep it going as the sport grows. Dude, why not? Why not just keep doing cool shit for the
I'm
sport
having
of
a
arm
fun
wrestling?
time.
So cheers, mates. And I look forward to so Uncle John, when you turn my screen back on, that gives me the sign. So just keep doing that. All right,
Perfect.
guys. Peace out.
All right.
Hey,
See you later.
Gary.
I'm going to attempt to get rid of, put Gary back in the waiting room. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the rest of the show. I am Uncle John from Uncle John's Arm Wrestling Show. And tonight I am joined by the one and only Jake Ward, the Aussie arm wrestler.
Yes. Bang. I don't know.
Bang, bang, bang. So, of course, what we usually do now is we have a little preamble with the one and only Gary Roberts, which we've now finished. And now we'll kind of get into the meat of things. So if you guys want to come into the chat, just go click on that link up at the top of the chat, and that will enter you into the waiting room. I'll try to get to as many people as possible. The other thing we're trying to push now is if you come in, you ask a question, and then you're just kind of sitting around like a dead duck for a while,
or working out in the video.
Right?
Like, all the time I see and people's like, oh, thanks Uncle John for having me on. And then they like walk around the corner and suddenly you see him picking up something. And
sure. If you want to do
contribute, guys, that's why we come on. And that's why sometimes Uncle John and Gary Roberts get me to come on, because I will just talk until they cut me off. And that's just the way it's got to be. There is so much happening in the world of the arm wrestling. And as you can see, the comments are coming through thick and fast. I think if I was going to get one thing off my chest, Uncle John, can I get one thing off my chest?
Take it right off.
All right. So this whole thing, and we're going to be talking about it for quite a long time, this Ryan Bowen versus RVJ. Now, everyone is like, oh my God, Ryan Bowen can't even beat Justin Bishop. You know, he really needs to aim for someone in between. They pulled like 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
People improve 5 years ago in 5 years. Now Ryan is, I mean, just like anyone else, no one's really pulled in the last 12 to 18 months. So I can't wait to see who's really excelled in the training and who's, dropped off and things like that, because that's what happened. But people have just got to understand, I'm not just saying it because I'm Australian. I'm saying it because I've experienced it firsthand. Now, I haven't gripped up with RVJ. I haven't even gripped up with Uncle John, so I can't give a proper analysis. But I have gripped up with Ryan, and he feels like the real deal. Is he at RVJ status yet? That I'm not 100% sure. There is some sort of freak of nature that is the 3 letters of doom in RVJ. But when everyone is in the comments and, really getting stuck into him, that's fine. I don't mind that, but saying, oh, he hasn't beat this guy and he hasn't beat that guy. Well, no one has. No one's done anything at least in 18 months. And that's like saying someone that finished 8th in the Olympics in 2016, oh, they can't win a gold medal. They should just aim for 4th. No, if you're in the sport, you're aiming to be the best. And I know that rubs everyone along the rubs them up the wrong way. And yeah, Ryan can't get over there and compare himself because there's so many top pullers in North America and in Canada. And I'm more than excited to get him over there. But yeah, at the moment, guys, you'll just have to enjoy watching him on YouTube. But to say, he can't even beat Justin Bishop. Now, Justin Bishop is one bad dude. And maybe he still can't beat Justin Bishop. Come on, guys. It was 4 or 5 years ago. It was four or 5 years ago.
So I've got a couple things to say about that. But before we get there, I do want to acknowledge Stacy Morgan with a $10 super chat saying sausages for Gary. Gary did very clearly say he loved sausage. So I'm sure no one will clip that out and make a reel out of it. Also, Mizel Jador, $3.99 super chat. He says, he said Mizel exactly how I want it said. So I've been saying Mizel the whole time. Now I have to switch it to Mizel, and I'm going to constantly screw it up, but I will give it my best. I will give it.
No, Mizel is fine. It'll stay Mizel. That's like we're not calling him Levon. No, it's Levan. We're calling him Levan. It's Mizel. Sorry, Mizel. You're a great dude, but it's going to be hard to change you to Mizel. We will try. We will try.
Damage may have been done, but we do appreciate that. So thank you guys for the super chats. All super chats, of course, are very much appreciated. Now, I do want to bring in one of our usual suspects here in Jason Merlot. We'll get Jason on the line. Oh, Jason looking like he maybe got a light this time. Oh, that'll be very good. Going to connect some audio.
It's good that these guys are jumping in every week, and I'd love to address everything in the comments, but man, they are coming through thick and fast today, which is what keeps us going in these live streams, guys. You have no idea how much how awesome it is, because I try and talk to Uncle John, then I divert my eyes and I'm like, oh my God, they're saying all these things, and I want to address all that. And but while you're there, if you are commenting, hopefully you've subscribed to Uncle John's Arm Wrestling Show, because it's hilarious. It's great. It's one of the best things going on the internet at the moment.
Well, thank you. Same to Aussie Arm Wrestler as well. Get on in there. Who did you just interview? Bart Wood? You just interviewed Bart Wood? I just
did. This week I did Jerry Catterett and just released Bart Wood this morning. Both hilarious interviews. Jerry Catterett needs on YouTube more. He was hilarious. If you go all the way to the end of the interview, he tells me this eating story. Like, he's done competitive eating, and it was hilarious. I was in tears.
I wanted to puke hearing that.
Sorry?
I wanted to puke hearing that.
Yeah. He was like, he was doing the fat guy jiggle as he was selling it as well. He was like, oh, I was trying to get the food down and things like that. And then got to have a chat to Bart Wood, and he was just brilliant. He was, it was awesome to see the different side of the referee. So yeah, 2 fun podcasts at the moment, in talks with a whole heap of people for more podcasts, more shows. It's great because people are reaching out to me. I'm just a dude in Melbourne, in my kitchen at the moment, because that's where the best Wi-Fi spot is at the moment. So, beautiful. Yeah, it's all going well. It's all a bit of fun on our end.
All right, so we did have another super chat from Mizel. It says, laughing out loud, both saying it is perfect Z is all I need. All right, there you go. Now, Jason Merlot, welcome to the show today. Did you buy a light, or are you just in a better lit area of your home?
Well, I am in a different location, but I have a light. I just
nice production.
Gary will be happy.
Going up.
Gary will be happy.
Very good.
So I wanted to say, you guys were talking about the RVJ and Bowen thing.
Yep.
But you know what's getting lost in the weeds is prior to this whole thing happening, I don't know if anybody caught, Philip Ritz put out a video calling out Bowen.
Yes, he did.
And I feel like that's going to get lost in the weeds, even though looking at it, I think it's a better match.
I think calling out Ryan Bowen is the wrong thing to do, only because he is, as I've mentioned a few times, he's one of the most hated people on the internet. So he gets all this hate. He gets called out all the time. Yeah, that may be a better matchup. I'm yet to see the video. If someone's got a link, send it to me. I love checking out those videos. I love a bit of trash talk in any sport. I love it. Bit of a gossip for it. But yeah, I think it's the wrong person to call out.
Look, the marketability, obviously, it's RVJ and Bowen. That's end of story. But in terms of an actual match, I do think it's a better match, and it's, it actually stems from the haters thing, because Philip has a backer with somebody that wants to put money on the match just to see it, and it's basically the whole reason behind it is Philip has, he has had wins on RVJ in tournament styles, and depending on whether it was fresh or not doesn't matter. But Philip's whole thing is Ryan, if you want somebody to pull leading up to RVJ, here's a good shot. Even though he's a lighter guy, I see the stance taken there, and I think it's interesting, but I think it's unfortunate because it's definitely going to get lost in the weeds after all this hype with RVJ and Bowen now.
It certainly is, and I love that match. I think it could be a very good match potentially. I mean, we don't really know, because we don't really know where anyone is at this point in time, so it's been so long. But I like the match. But unfortunately, it's not, and this is something that people really need to understand. Matches are not made based on how good those matches could potentially be.
Correct.
They are made based on the hype that is able to be created around those matches. And that doesn't have necessarily anything to do with, how good one or the other person is. Ryan Bowen, I find him to be a very good arm wrestler, but he is 10 times better because he is everywhere all the time. We see him every single day of our lives doing one thing or another, right? And people just start saying, well, it's the same with Schoolboy, right? Everybody's like, oh my God, Schoolboy is amazing. He just beat 10,000 people in a row. Well, they're all bums, right? Like, Schoolboy is a good arm wrestler, but he's not an elite champion of champions that's going to come in and wreck house, right? It's just not how it works.
No, and that's and that's where we're at. And I think a lot of that just comes down to impatience. We've gone so long, like it hurts, like that constipated shit that just won't come out. We are absolutely just gagging for some matches, and I think that's when it all comes. And now that so many more people are coming on the internet with so many more platforms, everyone's like, well, I can beat him. I can beat him. Because, when you're lifting weights in the gym and things like that and you feel strong, there's nothing wrong with getting a bit of confidence in yourself. I just love how much it makes people angry. Like, I don't know what your comment section is like, Uncle John, or your private inbox, but even with your strict curls that aren't strict curls and you're not allowed to label Engen with them and things like that. Yeah. But the madness that has come out with this person's not doing it right and this is wrong and this is wrong. And I couldn't help myself. I've clicked on a few of those people making the comments.
Bums.
Couch coaches. Couch coaches.
That's the thing. Everybody feels so entitled to correct everybody else, which is I get it for the whole sake of the RPR thing. I get it. There's 3 simple rules to follow. That's another thing too. There's 3 simple rules. Three. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. So it's just amazing how everybody just feels the need to pounce on somebody immediately for any little thing. It's amazing.
It really is. And that's come out like, man, I was feeling so good about myself. Neil was like, man, Uncle John, you're like one of the nicest, happiest guys in arm wrestling. And over the last week, I'm just like, it's just like I'm growing into a monster or something. I'm like, God damn people. And then I'm just like, okay, it's just a freaking curl contest, for God's sake. Just calm down, everybody.
And I feel like this lift is so much simpler than the back pressure lift.
Oh, 100 times simpler.
There's so many, you can see from the videos, there's so many more different angles. There's going to be different pulleys, different amount of pulleys on there. So, it's so much more simple. It's just a dumbbell. And you're curling the dumbbell.
Yeah. I will say that I have those videos have benefited extremely from both RVJ and Ryan Bowen.
Yes.
From Ryan doing the terrible form to RVJ talking about it, it has increased my stock on the internet by a lot. So I am all for it. If you guys want to do, here's the deal with ARMPR. If you want to submit terrible form, I am 100% okay with that. As long as you are 100% okay with me trolling you on the show, right? Because it is happening. Be careful on Friday, because there is gonna be some shooting going on.
Yeah,
I'm telling you that already.
That's excellent.
That's for sure. Yeah, I just can't. It just blows my mind, and especially, yeah, a part of me thinks Ryan did that curl purposely. Terrible.
Ryan knows what he's doing.
Oh, absolutely. But the worst, I think, the nice guy of me comes in, because what people just don't see is he is a real nice guy. I've shared the story when I went up north to host an event, and I went to the wrong airport, so he drove like 2 hours to come pick me up, and then drove me to his house. He put me up for the weekend, drove me to the event, and offered to pay for my ticket to change airports. It was going to cost me like 400 Australian dollars, so like $4 American. Offered to pay that, and just put me up for the weekend and things like that. And obviously a huge supporter of what we do. He sponsors your show, Uncle John. So yeah, it's just a shame that the guy just cops it. Just cops it. Some of it's hilarious, though. I must admit, some of the comments that come firing in, a part of me feels bad because he's my mate, but yeah, I'm just like, yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah, I will say, not to get too much on this train, but Ryan Bowen has never been anything but extremely good to me. Extremely good to me, and told me things about what I can do to become better. And this goes back a year and a half ago when I first started my channel. He was helping me like 2 days after I put out my first video. So, that's one thing. RVJ, also very nice to me.
Yeah.
We've had conversations online, and he's been like, hey, I'm interested in doing this. That's great too. Most of the people are very, very good people. It's just that when you get on the internet, things tend to get exacerbated. Yes. You don't know the whole story. Some of it is for show, some of it is not for show. And then everybody gets confused. And welcome to the internet, right? That's pretty much what
we're not doing research. Don't be stupid. I'm not looking at facts. I have seen a picture of a bad curl, and it says strict curl, and it says Engen. So I will get my finger of doom and comments on it and things like that. As like, Uncle John posted a video about the rules. That's 7 minutes long, Uncle John. That's too long.
It's too much.
It's too much.
But no, but it is great. I mean, but if we didn't have those people, and yeah, I do give everyone stick in the comments about it, but we do need you guys, and the comments, especially when you get stuck into Ryan, the comments are just about him. You're not attacking him personally. You're not attacking his family. So I love all that banter. If you're going to troll someone, or, say, the Aussie Arm Wrestler show's garbage. Like someone did a vomit emoji on a post of mine the other day. But I found it funny because you're not attacking me personally. You're not attacking my family. And I think that's the one thing I have enjoyed with a lot of the banter, whether it be the strict curls because Uncle John's created monsters, or if it's everyone getting stuck in a blue. They've just kept it arm wrestling. Blue can't beat this person, needs to be. And so I secretly sometimes enjoy it. There, I said it. It's out there.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, you know what you need to bring back, Uncle John? You need to bring back meme of the week.
Oh,
I haven't seen that for like now. I feel like it's died out a little bit, but we need to, because there's definitely openings for that.
There is openings. We did have one meme that was a pretty decent one that was created. I'll probably put that on the Friday video, to be honest. And maybe we will. Maybe I will start accepting memes once again. I do have a bit of a spicier direction to take this conversation, though. I will give my opinion first, since it is so spicy. Now, a lot of this Ryan Bowen versus RVJ talk really stems around the use of steroids and Rob's conviction that he's always maintained that he is not on steroids. And he wants someone, whoever that person is, to take the match, to do blood tests for like a year to prove they're not on. I believe Rob Vigeant Jr. is telling the truth. I believe Rob Vigeant Jr. is a weird freako when it comes to strength and power and grip. And I think that's just the way he is. Now, I'm willing to hear arguments to the opposite. But here's my thing. RVJ has like been kind of the same since he came in, right? He's always been mega. So either he's never been on steroids or he's always on steroids.
Maybe they were just in the bottle when he was like 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that could have been it. Yeah.
Maybe.
Look, he's got rage as if he is on steroids.
Okay, that's a point.
But yeah, as Uncle John, as you know, you and I are huge, wrestling fans. So we grew up watching people on steroids.
Yep.
And yeah, there is something off about RVJ that leans me towards your side of the argument. I mean, the guy's got basketball for biceps. I mean, they're ridiculous. But throughout the thing, yeah, he has relatively stayed the same. You haven't seen him, he's going to take on Marcio Barbosa at Arm Wars, and then suddenly his neck grows out to here. So, yeah, there's definitely an argument for it that he's not on steroids. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty naive on the whole subject as well. But I mean, just looking at him, I mean, he doesn't have crazy shoulders. He doesn't have a crazy neck. Like, his face doesn't balloon or shrink. I mean, like you said, Uncle John, I mean, he stays the same.
He's never had any huge weight fluctuations, to my knowledge.
Exactly. And just, I met RVJ once in person, and I mean, he's just a big dude. I mean, his hands, too, are massive. I think he's just a natural freak. I mean, there's room for those people in this world, and like, we found one. Like,
yeah,
I think that's how it goes.
So a couple things. Number one, Kevin's Life Positive, he said that's just typical Boston rage, which I guess I can believe.
Yeah.
Number two, Mizel Jador says Scott Steiner was clean. Come on, man.
I giggled at that one. I was reading it and poor Jason was talking. I read it and I was like,
Now, secondary question. Is Ryan Bowen clean? He's accepted. He says, yes, I'll take the blood tests. Is Ryan Bowen a natural athlete? He keeps getting better. Rob made the point.
SpaceX.
Yeah. He keeps going up and up and up. And then if he loses, there's a reason for it, and he goes up and up and up even more.
That video was great where Rob was talking to Neil, just saying how Ryan's been well, and he was doing well before he was doing well, and he's very well and more well and more well. That was a hilarious video. Like I said, I'm really naive on the subject. It's very hard.
It's very hard. What if you argue on both sides? If I'm going to play devil's advocate here, so if I say Ryan Bowen's clean, the reason I say he is clean because the power of a beautiful woman can make you do a lot of things. So Ryan has really become a lot more happier in his life. He's now engaged, planning a wedding. She's very into eating and things like that, very cleansing eating and things like that. And we've all done it, like my first date with my wife. My wife's a vegetarian, so there was no chance in hell I was eating meat on the first date. I need to impress to try and have a woman cling on to me. So if I'm arguing that, it's like, here's someone that's come in, loves Ryan, supports the business, and things like that. So making some positive changes. But then if you're sitting on the other side of the fence, it's like, yeah, he's projecting big numbers. Is it a marketing strategy? He's put on weight. You know, he's gotten bigger. But Ryan's body's not a superhero body. Is he clean? I'm going to go on the record and say yes. I mean, it is arm wrestling, but I don't know. I would say yeah. I'd say yeah.
How tall is Ryan? How tall is Ryan?
He's about 6 foot, 6'1".
Okay, that's what I thought, because I remember when I saw Ryan in person, I thought he was at my height or just slightly lower. I could have sworn in some videos, though, he said he's like 6'2" or something like that. I'm like, trying to squeeze an inch on me here.
Yeah, well, you know, he might be wearing Timberlands that day, or you know, or might have just watched the NBA and gone, oh, yeah, I'm 6'2" today. I'm 7'4". Like, who knows? It's
I mean, what is? I know Ryan was a tennis player and he did a little military and stuff like that too. But I mean, prior to really dedicating his life to arm wrestling, I mean, was he much of a lifter?
No.
So then, I mean, there you go. I mean, that he's gonna.
I believe not.
Right.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I mean, he's gonna make significant gains just from really dedicating his life to lifting. So I mean, just from that alone, I mean, there's more toward the argument of being clean. But like I said, very naive on it. Very hard for me to tell any of that stuff, and I don't want to offend anybody either.
Do you guys watch any of the Natty or Not videos, like by Greg Doucette or More Plates, More Dates? They're basically these guys, they're more fitness oriented, right? But they take a look at a person and then they try to determine if they're natty or not. And this guy, Greg Doucette, who's got like 1 million followers, actually lives like 20 minutes from where I live. So I'm trying to meet him out in public somewhere and trying to turn him on to Natty or Not Arm Wrestling Edition. Wow. That would be awesome.
That would be cool.
I watch a lot of Kenny KO. He just calls people out and just asks them and tells them on steroids. But yeah, it's a shame because anyone that single word alone is the sole reason why arm wrestling isn't in the Olympics. That's the only reason why arm wrestling is not in the Olympics, is because of steroids. Our top guys may or may not be on it, but yeah, if they do get tested, I'm sure there's some pre-workouts they're taking that aren't accredited to the Olympic Committee. But that's the sole reason why arm wrestling isn't in the Olympics. It was an exhibition a couple of Olympics ago, and I think they just looked at the elite competitors and went, no,
not happening. So what's the reality? Let's get back to the match itself. What is the actual likelihood that, you know, this match happens, let's say, in the next year? Like, is it reasonable? Will they be able, because Ryan kind of laid out some ideas about how they could move forward with it. I'm not so sure how keen Rob is going to be about them.
I mean, Rob pulled Chuck Ryder,
right?
For a lot less money. You know, Chuck flew up to him and did that. You know, I don't know if it'll make it to 50,000. That's a huge number. And like I understand, Ryan is, if there's anybody that can do it, Ryan's going to be the one to put it together. Super smart. He knows the business. He has a grasp on that. So if there's anybody, it's going to be Ryan. However, that's a huge sum of money. I think more of the question is, will Rob buy out for less? Will Rob get to the point where he buys out for less?
Yeah, this match all depends on RVJ, 100%. If RVJ, first of all, wants to take the match, you know, because now his YouTube's blowing up. Imagine how big he would be if he just clean sweeps Ryan Bowen. And what if, the same. What if Ryan gets $30,000 there? Like 30, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to be dangling. Oh, you've got to get another 20,000. Rob just might go, you know what? I'm feeling pretty good at the moment. Come over with that duffel bag and let's do it. It solely depends on RVJ. 100% Jason.
And not, you know what though? Maybe it's not even that. Maybe also there's WAL involvement that might step in, or who knows?
Sure.
RVJ also had hinted about him stepping away from WAL because of this whole issue. So who knows how involved he is with WAL now or not. But
that's a good point.
That's another question, though.
They'll be involved at some stage. The match won't be for the hammer. Right. But they will somehow be involved as an exhibition match.
Right.
I believe. I don't have any secret inside information. I got my conspiracy theory hat on like the rest of us. But as a sports fan, I believe because they're both contracted, they both would be in contact with WAL and go, right, can we have a one-match leave pass? Can we do it under the WAL banner as an exhibition behind closed doors? You know, I'll document my 14 days quarantine. You know what I mean? So WAL don't lose any sponsors for going against COVID regulations. So I believe they probably would be involved. This match will have, out of all of them that are carrying on, within 12 months, if RVJ accepts, it will happen.
Thanks.
That's interesting. I mean, like I said, but does that automatically get pushed to the pedestal with WAL if WAL comes back too? Like, that's another question. Does everything else get forgotten that is on hold, and does that get pushed to the top of the pedestal?
If that's the hype, if it's got the hype behind it, I think it will.
It has to. It has to go straight up. You don't want to sit because no one else wants to watch it. It's like when we see Dave Chafee going against Levan. No disrespect to Dave Chafee. He was actually on the show. Go back to the Aussie Arm Wrestler archives. Whatever. Stop plugging my show, Uncle John. This is about you. But we don't want to see that. We want to see Levan Monster Michael Todd. It's the same, you know, in any sport. If there's talk and videos being made, it would be silly not to. If you were running the WAL and went, oh, no, Ryan needs to prove himself. It's like, no, everyone wants to watch this match. Like, this match almost has the hype where people would take days off work to watch it if it doesn't. So, like, here in Australia, it would probably be on at, I think they start at like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. my time. I would take the day off work if Ryan was pulling RVJ at WAL.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Quickly, we do have a ARMTV super chat for $9.99. It says, congrats to Jason Merlot's face for entering the show for the first time.
Gary's happy. I made Gary happy. My day's up.
Perfect. You are ready to rock. No doubt about that. So a hot take from Clerks93. He says, Ryan needs to put his own money on the line, not money from sponsors. I don't agree.
What's the difference?
That's the question. No arm wrestler, like above $1,000, arm wrestlers generally aren't putting up their own money. Even at $1,000, most of the time, they aren't putting up their money. You think when was the last time Travis put up his own money to arm wrestle anybody for any reason at any time? Probably 30 years ago.
Yeah. So if he turns up with $50,000 sponsorship money, do we say no? No, that has to be.
It's got to be your money.
Yeah. Who made that comment?
Clerks93. Clerks93 is a frequent commenter.
Yeah, but this time he's just missed it. That's all. We all do it. I think about 98% of the things I say is wrong, but I think you're off. Yeah, you're not on the money with this one.
Here's the other, along that line though. The other question I've seen brought up a lot is, does Ryan? Let's take away Ryan's notoriety on the internet. Does Ryan deserve this level of match, or should it go to someone like Storm Chelino or Paul Lynn or a number of other guys who are arguably all in Herman Stevens, Daniel Mosier, right? There's a lot of matches that want to happen for RVJ. What's the argument that Ryan needs to be the one?
Well, yeah, that's an interesting question, because if you only go off WAL records, both Ryan and Paul have had one match and they're both won. Both be credible opponents. Dan Mosier hasn't been on for a while, even though we all know how good he is. But if you take away Ryan's internet credibility, then you've got to take away everyone else's internet credibility. So it would just be, does Justin Bishop get a rematch? Does Storm Chelino get a rematch? It's a very, very interesting question. Very interesting question there. So, out of all the top middleweights going around, I would have the 601 be a qualifier. I would pick 4 guys. And then that's if there was no hype or anything like that. Right, you 4, elimination on 601.
Yeah.
You know, I pull Jason, Uncle John pulls Gary. Winners go on to 602. Winners then take on RVJ.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because I remember like in the finals for the 400 series and 500 series when they went down to Georgia, they had like that little 4-man round robin with certain classes. That would be a good way to get back into it, because my opinion, and see, that's another thing though. It's all opinion based. Who should get and who deserves the shot. But in terms of what I've felt, what I've seen out there, I mean, it sucks that Paul only had 1 match in the WAL. But honestly, since we already seen Storm pull RVJ, since we had already seen Craig pull RVJ, I mean, even though Paul only has 1 match, I think it should be Paul. Where I know where the level that Paul is at and what I felt, I think it is Paul that needs to have the shot and the crack at RVJ.
I would love to see the match. Like, I 100% want to see the match. No doubt about it. Like, it's a no-brainer. But the question is, can we figure out a way to get this all to come, together? Like you're saying, maybe with some other, sneakiness of some kind.
Right.
We did have another super chat from Mike's Madness. He says, when are we going to see Uncle John versus the Beast? Let me be very clear. I will pull Travis Bagent anytime. No drug test needed for the simple fee of $50,000. Anytime, anywhere, I will pull Travis Bagent.
I've already beaten Travis Bagent. I mean, come on. Give Uncle John a proper matchup. If you're going to be there making matches in the comments section, give him a proper matchup.
Travis doesn't even arm wrestle anymore, does he? Does Travis arm wrestle anymore? He's retired.
Like picking on the kid that doesn't fight back. Come on now. Uncle John wins that 6-0 in a best of 4. Come on now.
Yeah. So plenty of hot takes in the chat. A lot of people are like, nope. Ryan Bowen does not deserve this match in any way, shape, or form. And some people saying it otherwise. I think we're also not quite clear on all of the specifications. It's like, okay, it's $50,000, but is that 50? Where is the 50 coming from? Who is it going to? Is it winner take all? Is it a 40-60 split? I mean, there's lots of details that would also
like my initial question was when he said 50K, is it like each side coming with 50K?
Right. Is it really
like another thing too? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I am interested though to see what actually comes about of this, because like I said, but the biggest thing is if Ryan is able to put a fraction of that together, his real main determination, his what he wants to do is, 1, he wants to crack at the best, but 2, he wants to continue to create legitimacies for the sport, and by doing this and by putting this money together, levels up the sport big time. Especially if he can do this all on his own. Like, that is huge. So I have a ton of respect for being able to tackle this type of feat and successfully put this together. I mean, that would be that's huge. That is huge.
I think what people need to do, especially if they want to pull in the WAL, is stop going to tournaments and beating everyone. I mean, that's something awesome to do in your spare time, but like, you need to be very well known. Like on the social side of things. Jujimufu got a match. Like, right. They want to get Schoolboy to get a match. And we haven't really seen Schoolboy beat anyone. Could be one of the most overrated arm wrestlers going around. You know what I mean? We see him losing tournaments. Yeah, I see all the time there's 50 guys ahead of Ryan. But you don't want to see any of them pull. Right. You don't want to see any of them lose. You want to see Ryan lose. So when I got to have a chat with Dan Mosier, great guy, nice guy, has beaten just about everyone in the country. Turns up, he is like 48 state champion out of 50 states. You know what I mean? He's beating everyone. But it's like, yeah, oh yeah, he might deserve it, but we're not. Like, we need a bit more. It's getting to that stage now. We need a bit more from all these people. We need more social side of things. Look how much RVJ's just skyrocketed in like 2 weeks. He's like winning the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Devin, like, almost convinced Igor to let Levan pull because he filmed something, probably while taking a shit. You know, I think these pullers, they're, as you guys know, there are so many amazing pullers in Canada and North America. I mean, I hear names. I don't see much footage, but in the comments, you know, people's saying half of these names and I haven't heard of them.
Right.
Now I'm on the other side of the world. So do I want to watch someone in the WAL I've never heard of? No. That's why the Ultimate Fighter worked. If anyone watched the original Ultimate Fighter, you got to know these guys.
Right.
And then you saw them in the UFC. That's what we like from the other side of the world. We need to see more of these people. If they just got anyone to commentate, we'd be like, no. But suddenly Uncle John's commentating with Neil Pickup on WAL. It's like, well, hang on, I watch Uncle John all the time. We need all these pullers that are on the fringe, you know, including yourself, Jason. Your name gets brought up a lot, even in this comment. Right. It's Jason versus Ryan would be a better match. But we don't see enough of the sweet wine of Jason Malone. We just need, you know what I mean? You always get mentioned in conversations because you do well at tournaments, but we just need to see more on the other side. Maybe you, as much as you don't want to, maybe you need to call out people. No one had ever heard of the Aussie Arm Wrestling until I was cool and ready, bang on everyone at the starts and doing puns and things like that. But I build a brand and things like that. So that's what I would suggest. The fringe players really, if they want to be a well-known superstar, you've had a whole year. You've got the internet to make it happen.
You're 100% right, and I get that, and we can use me as an example just for the sake of this argument. But yeah, like I understand that. I definitely get that. And what I'm trying to figure out a way with that. Like I said, I'm a very quiet person. I don't like to try and stick my head out and try and bash somebody in order to get a match. But there's definitely a calculated way in order to create that interest, which I have to start figuring out. But like I said, I mean, even at the recent tournament in New York that we did, there was hype that nobody created. I think it was just from the rivalry. Everybody wanted to see me against El Cesar again. And literally when we got up to the table, it was pretty crazy. There's 3 tables were going at that time. The other 2 tables stopped to watch our match, which is good. And like I said, for me, in terms of me wanting to start getting my name out there, seeing stuff happen like that, I mean, building blocks are starting to fall into place. But then another example, as to bring it a step further, I mean, Gennady Vikvinia's, his channel, he has like a little intro, a professional intro at the beginning and at the end of his videos now that he just recently put together. And I just realized why, not only just for his abilities, but the reason why I tune into his channel is because I like the music and I like that intro. It's like, holy shit, that's legit.
Yeah.
Something as little as that can create that talk for somebody.
But I think you're doing the right thing now, because every time, because usually I'm at work when this call-in show starts, but every time I come on, you jump in these chats. You jumped in on the New Year's Eve chat. So I think you are starting to do it without knowing you are starting to do it, because now everyone that jumps in the chat is like, oh, there's Jason again. And when you jumped on, a few people were like, oh, I love hearing what Jason's got to say. Yeah, you don't have to dog shit on everyone. But I think by coming on here all the time, I think you are helping yourself more. So now more people are like, oh, that Jason Malone. And then suddenly they punch it in the YouTube machine. It's like, oh my God, he's a bad dude. He's actually a really good puller.
It's excellent. Yeah.
We did have a $5 super chat from Jace with big news. He says, Bowen just said he might come over to ARMTV Live. Ryan Bowen, come on in. I need to know if you're on steroids. That's going to be my first question.
And Jake, actually great that you brought that up. Is 217, Brad with 217. He actually messaged me recently on this, and he said, you know, me entering this chat, I wasn't on his radar until I started doing this regularly. And like I started talking to him privately because of that. And yeah, and like I said, you know, we made a connection because we're both kind of like quiet individuals.
Yeah, and yeah, now you're putting yourself out there. Hopefully Ryan does jump in, but I would definitely suggest that, Jason, and yeah, no, popping on here every week and having a chat, because people, yeah, once you realise that people do want to hear what you have to say. I mean, you're showing consistency, you're turning up, and that's all people want. And now you just got to come out and tell us who you can beat without pulling him yet. That's the one thing we would like.
We'll start throwing those hints out.
And for better or worse, this is the reality, right? Where, you know, look at, you know, take me, for example, a year and a half ago, am I getting called for any match for any reason outside of Atlantic Canada? No.
Right.
I mean, am I that much of a better arm wrestler now? I mean, a little bit better. But now people are always like, oh, when are we going to see Uncle John and Ryan Bowen?
Right.
I don't have any illusions that I can beat Ryan Bowen, but please, by all means, keep putting my name next to his. I will be, you know, thoroughly impressed. And this is, you know, like it or not, this is kind of the way things work now.
Right. Yeah. It looks like Ryan has entered the chat and he's going to come in.
He's going to come in. Oh, there he is. He's coming in. I'll once you get in the waiting room here, Mr. Bowen, we will let you in to dispel any vile rumors or, you know, anything that we have gotten incorrect this evening. Very, very good. Very, very excellent.
Yeah, beautiful. He must have been doing something on his channel because a lot of people know that he was coming.
Yeah, there must have been multiple people. Jace with a $2 chat saying Gary left at the wrong time. He may be coming in. He may be coming back. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have incoming very soon here. I've just clicked him in.
Yes. There he is.
Let me
Ryan.
Unmute yourself there, Ryan. There we go.
Chat saying Gary left at the wrong.
Oh, you got to turn your computer off, Ryan. Got to mute that. There we go.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on, Jen?
Computer?
Oh, hang on a second. All right. I see what I'm doing.
There you go.
I see even the best.
Don't worry. There we go.
Even the best fumble.
How's that? Better?
Very good. We got Ryan Bowen in. Joe Woodland, thank you for the $5 super chat. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the man you've all been waiting for, the man we've been talking about feverishly for the last 30 minutes, trying to figure out what the hell is going on, the one and only Ryan Bowen. Welcome, Ryan. How are you?
Oh, good, John. I'm well. Sorry, I didn't realize you guys were live, and I just randomly did an impromptu live on my channel. And then everyone started telling me, dude, you got to go jump on ARMTV. So I had a chat on my channel, and I thought, yep, let's come on over.
Beautiful.
What's happening?
So we've been having a very spirited discussion about all the goings-ons from your most just artistically beautiful form on your strict curl. We've talked about your interactions with RVJ. We have talked about the realities of the match. If you deserve the match, we've even talked if you are yourself on steroids. And we've had a variety of answers. We've had a variety of things. So where are we at right now? We've seen a lot of the videos going back and forth. Bring us up to date. Where are we standing right now with you and RVJ?
Sure. I would love to bring you up to date. So essentially, as you guys know, there was a lot of back and forth heat between Rob and I that kind of just organically came about. Nothing there was orchestrated. It just I said something, he said something, we bit back, and it got pretty real. And I think Rob ultimately tried to bully me out of the scenario by saying, 50K drug tested, let's do it, thinking that'd be the end of the story. But for anyone who knows kind of me and knows when I see something like that, I don't say no. I'm like, all right, well, how do we do this? So I straight away said yes. And yes, look, willing to make this happen. After about 12 hours of sitting down and thinking about it, I thought, okay, there's a better way of doing this, because it was the way that Rob had proposed it was going to be very messy. 6 months of blood tests. How are we going to do this over in the USA? The travel is going to be a problem. 50K on a garage match would be kind of sucky. So I'm like, well, no, we're going to do this properly if we're going to do this. And 50K, that's fine, Rob, but you don't need to put up 50K. I'll make sure the 50K is on the table for the winner, and we'll have a match, and we can drug test it, whatever you want. That's fine. So Dubai was naturally the place to do this. Given the sport at the moment, that's where the attention is. It's where the best third-party opportunities are for sponsorships. We obviously have Larry, who's tremendously interested in the sport at the moment, that it would assist greatly in bringing attention to the match. We have Michael Todd chasing a match with Levan. There's no dates. We don't even know whether that's going to be a possibility, but I can tell you right now that I've already spoken to Michael Todd and already spoken to Larry through Michael Todd. And the wheels are turning for getting that promotion actually happening. It's very much real, and it's very much something that we're aiming for. Now, when it comes to myself and Rob and I have not spoken privately about this matter. But as soon as it got to this point where it was possible, I reached out to Neil Pickup and said, Neil, I need an intermediary between myself and Rob, because it's not going to work me talking directly to Rob. So Neil, here's what I'm proposing in a business sense. And I think I can achieve it. I think we can get it inside the 3 to 6 month period of time in Dubai, working with Larry, working with third-party sponsors. And I think I can get $50,000 on the table for the winner. That's my objective. Would you be able to talk to Rob on my behalf? He has done so. Rob has indicated back through to Neil, and Neil has reported to me that Rob is interested in this concept and he's willing to negotiate. So that's where we're at.
Nice.
Bang!
That's what I like to hear.
Yes! Ryan Bowen, like your favorite pizza delivery driver, has just come in and delivered that hot pepperoni slice. That's exactly what we wanted to hear, my man. So excited.
But it's for me, and the next thing I want to address is for me, when people say, do you deserve the match and all that sort of stuff? Okay, I will straight away say this is not a WAL match. The hammer won't be on the line. So subsequently, I'm not skipping anything. Okay, Justin Bishop, Storm Chelino, Jordan Sill, those guys aren't organizing a $50,000 offer for Rob. So if they do, I'm sure Rob will be happy to pull them. Okay, I'm not going to be taking a hammer if I win. I'm not skipping any cues. If this was in the WAL, yes, I respect. There's a ladder I must climb before Rob. I don't deserve the Rob match if it's in the WAL arena. I need to go through a whole heap of other people before that. But this is outside the WAL arena. This is me generating $50,000 of real money, not bullshit money that Rob's pretending to say that he'd put on the line of his own. This is real money that we're going to deliver on the table and that Rob has the chance to take. So naturally, Rob is going to accept that. He'd be crazy not to.
Okay.
There's zero disrespect to the Justins and the Storms and the Jordans. They're all killers.
All right. So first off, we did get another super chat from Diggin' It. Says, if Ryan is flipping the bill, then it is his match. I would agree. ARMTV also with a super chat for $4.99, wanting to know why 50K and not a more reasonable or attainable amount.
Well, that's because it's boring if we don't go big. We're in a time in the sport where the chapters are changing and the sport is evolving. We're in a season, thanks to COVID, where PAL, WAL, other organizations that have traditionally held the control of the sport, they're unable to get their seasons away. So we need to demonstrate to the arm wrestling world that there are ways and means of promoting that. And much like Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, they went outside of their UFC and their boxing federations and they put on an individual match and they achieved the biggest payday for them in the history of the sports. It's the same thing I want to do. I don't want to settle for mediocrity. I don't want to settle for just giving travel money and making peanuts. I want to demonstrate to the world that individual athletes within the arm wrestling world have the ability to create enough marketing value that third-party sponsors are going to be interested in putting significant money behind it. And this is not to mention the YouTube channels. Larry broadcasting this live, Devin broadcasting this live, Michael Todd broadcasting this live, the amount of revenue that would come from that as well is significant. So I want to demonstrate to the arm wrestling world that it is possible to have a money match this big. And that will hopefully change the way people like Igor Mazarenko thinks about the sport. If someone like Ryan Bowen can pull off a 50K match, maybe they're going to start to evolve and reinvent what they're doing a little bit more and bring the athletes on board as part of it, as opposed to just being stuck in the old system.
That was exactly my point earlier too, talking about it, Ryan. I know that you want RVJ, you want the cream of the crop, you want the top, but two, you also want to do this to promote the sport and to showcase the sport that athletes are deserving and you can make money happen. So I know that that's your other driving force behind this move. Like, this is a huge opportunity where if this actually works out, where you're able to raise 50,000, that's huge. Like, huge.
The thing is, my mission has been the same from the beginning. I've had two main objectives since discovering the sport of arm wrestling. One was to become an elite wrestler myself, but the one that is relevant here is I want to create a business. I want to create something that empowers as many other arm wrestlers as possible to call it a career as well. Now, if we look at YouTube alone, if we take all third-party sponsors out of it, a 1 million subscriber YouTube channel is making $50,000 a month. Let's not beat around the bush. That's the sort of money that a 1 million subscriber channel is making. Now, we already know there's two arm wrestling channels in existence that are already at that level. And Devon's is at 350,000. He's on the way. Michael Todd, even though he's only at like 50 or 60,000, he's doing all the right things to head in that direction as well. Now, the more channels that are at that level, how people choose to spend their money is up to them. But I know for me, absolutely, without a doubt, if my channels are ever at that level, then matches like this will be happening very regularly. And it won't just be me pulling in them, obviously. It'll be whoever the world wants to see. And that's something that I'd like to see evolve. So that's just the YouTube side of it. And then there, like I said, there's the third-party sponsorships side of it as well. And that just adds to it. The pay-per-view adds to it, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, there's definitely money out there to be made. And when done by someone who's willing to reinvest in the sport, which is everything I am. I don't draw money from arm wrestling. I reinvest money in arm wrestling. And so if Rob walks away with 50 grand, and I've had a few people laugh at me saying, Ryan, if you're going to lose this 50 grand, you're missing the concept. If Rob wins this match, I will be happy. On a financial sense, I will get $50,000 worth of value out of this event in business growth, in subscriber base, in networking, and the money generated from the third-party sponsorships. Even if it doesn't cover the 50, if it gets close, that is a big win for me. If I win the match and I win that 50K, well, yeah, guess what? I probably will reinvest that 50K immediately into another match for either myself, for Lachlan, for Jordan, for someone else, whatever. There'll be another match happens. If I lose the match, I have to generate another bunch of 50K before we go around again. But that's the thing. There is no loss in this for me. People are looking at it like thinking it's just crazy and it's stupid. There is no loss. This is all about growth for the sport. Win, lose, or draw, this is a win for me.
Beautiful. So a couple.
That's how you come on and make an impact. That's why I always say Ryan Bowen is my guy, and he is sporting the cool pound for pound sunnies. Make sure you go over there.
They are.
Order them. They are looking slick, like the way he just delivered that content there. As you can see, guys, as much as you dislike him, he is quite possibly one of the hardest working people in the arm wrestling world, and I witnessed it firsthand when I was lucky enough to go up and spend the weekend with him. As you can see, I am confident, and I said it earlier, that this match will happen, and you've got it here from Ryan. I hope a lot of you people have turned and been convinced. Let's make this match happen. Whatever we need to do to contribute, let's try and help out. Let's not aim shit on him. You can either contribute because you want to see the match, you want to see that genetic freak RVJ pin Ryan Bowen, or if you dislike him, then just pay for him, and then Ryan can head off into the wind if he does lose. But let's all contribute. Let's all get a big time arm wrestling match happen.
Honestly, the best way to contribute is to simply subscribe right now. That's all. The more people subscribe to my channel right now, that is the number one thing I want. I want subscribers. I don't want dollars. I want subscribers. That's the easiest thing.
Nice.
But anyway, it's going to happen. If you capped my subscribers where they are right now, the match is still going to happen.
Nice. So a couple super chats regarding some of the money stuff. Just people having a few opinions. Corey Waxmonksky. $10. He says, you need to become verified for the Brave browser to get easy extra money. People can tip you with crypto that they get from using the browser. Ryan, I just sent you a message on Reddit about it. So there you go.
Can't really spend
I don't know
crypto.
anything about it.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. I don't know anything about it. There's a lot of ways to have revenue open streams and that, but it gets murky when you start trying to put your fingers in too many pies. Simplification is a big part of it. So
Sure.
yeah.
We also got one from
this whole cryptocurrency garbage that's going on. Ryan, when you and I went out for breakfast after the event in Queensland, I asked the waitress if I could pay with Bitcoin, and she laughed at me. So, you know, I think we're just at that stage. I'm not sure if you can buy Uncle John t-shirts or pound for pound gear with Bitcoin just at the moment. But thank you to that guy who super chatted for at least trying to find another revenue to make this match happen. But
Absolutely.
yeah, let's go with real currency at the moment, please.
We've also got the Swayze Express with a $5 super chat. It says, Ryan, please set up an escrow account so that fans can contribute to make the match happen. Is that something that's
I guess again, I want to reiterate to the fans that I really appreciate the sentiment, but I don't want this to be perceived as a donation match at all. I don't. The number one way you can support this is to go and subscribe to Rob's channel, subscribe to my channel. And if you really want to go and buy pound for pound arm wrestling gear, that's the best way. I don't want it to be seen as a donation match at all. I want to prove to the arm wrestling whether this model works without donations.
So there's a few other things going on in the chat here. People making some good points about, okay, obviously if this thing gets set up and it's in Dubai, it's you and Rob, but what is the likelihood of adding other things to that? I mean, I would assume we would have other matches as well. Have you thought about that at all?
Well, I'm going to be very greedy on this match, and be very much focused on this match. Spreading the money thin, I'm not interested in at the moment. But as I mentioned earlier, I've already spoken to Michael Todd. We know he's trying to push for a match with Levan. Whether he gets that or not, he's pushing for an event. And one of the options is that this match is part of that event. So we might team up with Michael in that, which would be such an honor to be able to be an undercard to a Michael Levan match. Oh my goodness, that'd blow my mind. And that would be amazing. But if Michael's thing aside, I've heard people say get Lachlan Adair, Toddzilla, all that sort of stuff would be another great match to be on that card. But again, I'm going to come back to the fact and say I'm going to be greedy. One of the big reasons why the PAL and the WAL and all the other leagues are struggling to get seasons is because of how many moving parts there are with COVID. The less moving parts, the more certain we can be. And the moving parts in this stage are only me and Rob getting to Dubai. So I want to keep it that simple. And one match, that's what all it'll be.
If you're doing it in collaboration with Michael Todd, just make sure he doesn't tie the strap.
Yes. I agree.
Perfect.
I agree with that.
He's going to forget.
So, as always, Gary Roberts, ARMTV, supporting with super chats, trying to get a little spicy here. He says, Ryan, Uncle John said that you had shitty curl form to get more views. Is there any truth to this?
No, I just lifted the heaviest weight that I could. I don't own any dumbbells, so the first time I did it was with a suspended weight, and regardless of what Rob Vineyard says, it was harder with the suspended weight for me than it was when I did it with the dumbbells. It was wobbling around, it was awkward. Anyway, so the YouTube responded then saying, Ryan, get some dumbbells. So I went over to Jordan Davis's place the next day, borrowed his dumbbell, loaded my plates on it. I only have certain plates, so my increments were very large. I think the heaviest I did with much better form was 80 pounds. It was still not strict form. It's not a Brian Bellwood form by any stretch of the means. That man's a machine. But it was better form at 80 pounds. And then my next increment was all the way up to 96.7 pounds. So it's a big jump. You lose a lot of form in that. And I'm not someone disciplined like Lachlan Adair, where he picked up a weight the other day. He had to lift 90% done, but because he felt that he needed to lean back, he put it down instead of completing it. Where I would have done the limbo and got the lift up. I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm not competing in strict curl. I wasn't trying to do that deliberately. I was just trying to lift the heaviest weight I could. And that's my body found the weakest link in that, or the pathway, the best opportunity to get it up, and I did what I could. So I went into that challenge, that ARMPR challenge, simply wanting to contribute, have fun, keep the conversation going around the show. And I was just amazed at how precious Rob got over that reaction, thinking that I don't know what he was thinking, why he was so upset that I did a curl for him. And I'm the first person to admit the curl was rubbish. So whatever.
Well, I'm very thankful for the curl, and it will have a very high place on this Friday's ARMPR episode. And not only that, let me be clear, that wasn't even close to the worst form I've seen on the submission.
Oh man,
not even close. Like, there are people doing all sorts of weird stuff. Like BLM, he had a weird one too, where he had all sorts of, he had a dumbbell, but then he had something on his wrist, and you know, all this ridiculous. So I think everyone should tune in on Friday to ARMPR, because it might be a little spicier than usual.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Oh man, that was fantastic. I just sat back and just enjoyed the show and trying to read a lot of the comments with what's going on. But guys, you should at least be impressed that they're working hard to get the match happen, regardless of what you think the result will be. This will be amazing for arm wrestling. It can show that you can actually make a lot of money from being an arm wrestler. Some of the comments on there, Ryan Espy made a good comment that we've relied on friends and family for so long. We just can't do that anymore. We need to start bringing in more people. That's what these hype matches do. They're not getting personal or attacking each other's family. They're just making it exciting. We haven't seen matches in ages, and it's just getting beyond it now. I'm starting to get angry in my voice. I don't like to get angry, ladies and gentlemen. I like to be happy. I like to be a happy person. But we need these hype matches. They're fantastic. And a simple
Jake,
thing
can I just tell you, Jake? To everyone that thinks that I can't win this match, you're in for a rude shock. Like, legit, you are. Rob is not unbeatable by any stretch of the means. I've never touched his hands, but I've stood in the same room as him, and you often get a sense when you stand in the same room as someone where you balance with them. I'll tell you, I'm a bigger person than Rob. He looks bigger than me on camera by a mile, but trust me, my wrist is thicker, I'm taller, I'm wider. He's an overgrown lightweight, where I'm a light heavyweight that's pretending to be a middle still. That's kind of our frame sense, and you'll see that you'll get that picture of us when we're standing in a room next to each other. You'll be surprised that I'm actually the bigger human for sure, even though he looks it on camera. So there's the style side of things. I believe I have enough in my game to put the match where I want it to be, and then from there, man, anything can happen. As much as Rob is the man, his back pressure, his wrist flexion, his pronation are all probably superior to mine. My side pressure and my speed is superior to his, and I believe my finger containment is sufficient to withstand his back pressure, and that's where I want it to be. And if it's in the straps in particular, and he is in a position that I've dictated, I think that I win the match from there. And when people say I'm dreaming and people think I'm delusional, that people like using the word delusional with me on this. Okay, just remind you that those words have been said about many of my last super matches, and I'm 10-0 on my last 10 matches. So just keep that up your sleeve.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not adjust your set. Two things have happened. Yes, that is police sirens in the background of Ryan Bowen's house, because shots have been fired. And also, do not ring, because I think the internet has just broken. The way that he's just said that he'll single-handedly beat RVJ, I have to ring the internet company, because Ryan Bowen has just broken the internet from that. Love the comment. I just love the confidence in anyone. And even just watching some of your comments, I looked over at Jason Merlot and he looked like he had a brain aneurysm. I think he might disagree with some of the things, but that's what we love about Jason. He's a very, very honest guy. And if you ever catch this show, Ryan, Jason, very intelligent brain when it comes to arm wrestling, but it was interesting to see his reaction. But that's just what's happened. That's just what's happened. Everyone cannot wait for this match.
And am I back? Can you hear me?
You're back, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Ryan Bowen, thanks for coming on the show. So I'm going to say social media RVJ 1, Ryan Bowen 0. He has one-upped you in the trash talking. I need you to up your shit talking game.
Where have you not been watching the last 45 minutes, Gary?
You're still a little too nice. I want
I'm
shit
not going
talk.
to get into that Boston, Massachusetts, New York region of the world kind of trash talking nonsense. I think Rob at the end of the day put out 50K, thinking he could be a big bully and try to scare me away with the whole 50K drug test thing. It was all a big sham. He just wanted me to go away. At the end of the day, once the match has now come around to a place where it's actually feasible with real 50K on the table for the winner, I think Rob's going to be a very different man. And we all know Rob is a very nervous man when it comes to preparing for matches. And he's going to be more nervous in this match than any match he's ever been in before. Stepping up to the table against me with 50K on the line, with everything he's said, if he loses that match, oh my goodness. So I think Rob is going to need to, between now and then, really reinvent his mentality if he's to not crumble at the table.
I am not 100% sure why RVJ is so concerned with the drug tests, especially with you. I mean, when I look at you, I mean, I don't know clean or not clean, but you don't visually, I get that maybe a stupid comment, but why is he bringing up the,
What are you saying? I don't look good? Come on.
I mean, it doesn't look, it looks like you work out. It doesn't look enhanced medically.
Look, Rob, like I said, when Rob's initial 50K drug tested thing was a method I believe he was using. He never expected this match to come about. He just wanted me to stop talking about the match. And so he thought, here's a way to get him to stop talking about it. Put an unobtainable amount of money out there, and also put this drug testing for every month for 6 months thing out there. Okay. That was just all Rob just saying, go away, I don't want to talk about it. But like I said, he didn't expect the response that I've given, being, okay, let's actually make this happen for real. And now it's flipped to the script where I'm actually talking about getting the money on the table for him and him not having to contribute anything. If he wants to do the drug testing, that's also fine. We can do that as well. That is going to be something that will be part of the negotiations that are happening. Like I said, I don't know if you missed it earlier, Gary, but I've engaged with Neil Pickup to be the intermediary between.
I did hear it. I heard it.
Yeah, because there's no point in Rob and I talking. It's going to be too emotional, and that man, I don't think, would be able to keep the conversation going in the right direction without getting upset. So Neil's going to do that on our behalf. We're going to put the match together. If we want drug tests, we'll do drug tests. But the money's going to be there for real. So it was all a big chest beating situation from Rob, just to try to make the social media go away. I know Rob doesn't like social media. He's just dipped his toe in the world of YouTube and is starting to create content. I think he's still going to have to go through an adjustment period where he gets used to people talking about him, and he's not going to like the way half the people talk about him. Plenty of people support Rob and think that I'm an idiot, and that's cool. And plenty of people think that Rob's an arrogant asshole and want me to win. So it goes both ways. I don't think it's 1-0 Rob at all. I think it's very much 2-1 to me.
Yeah,
He
Rob
says-
reads comments too. That's why half of this half of his content comes out because he reads the comments. That's why half of his content is coming out.
It takes a while to get used to. I read the comments too. I read every single comment on my YouTube videos. I really, really, really do. But you have to learn to absorb them and take them for what they are and let a lot of them go.
Is it true that he doesn't train? He says he could beat you untrained.
I don't know. I'm not at all privy to whether he trains or not. What I believe Rob is he's in a maintenance phase of his career. He's been at the top of the sport for a long time, and he doesn't train. He does not train as much as me. He's self-confessed that he's a once a week, couple of times a week guy, maybe. I'm an every day of the week kind of guy. I have been for 8 years. So when he jokes about trajectories, when he says, "Oh, Ryan's got SpaceX trajectory," there's actually a lot of truth to that. The fact is, I do have a significantly steeper trajectory for him because I do train more often than him. I do think about the sport more often than him, and I'm not in a maintenance phase. I'm in a hunting phase. I'm in a climbing phase, and Rob is just sitting at the top, which I admire. He's done the work originally, and be it his genetics, be it his hard work, whatever it was, he's got to the top, and he's been at the top for a long time, so he deserves all those accolades. But yes, there is truth in it that I do train harder than him. I think about the sport more, and I'll be better prepared for it than he will be.
I want to clear up a couple super chats before we go on. Badlands Arm Sports with $5. He says, when you're in the same room, it's super easy to tell you can beat people. Laughing my ass off. I'm not sure how much sarcasm was inserted in that comment. Probably a healthy dose. ET for $5 says, Ryan, maybe you can do a bundle package deal from your merchandise store and state specifically that it's for the super match with RVJ. Maybe. Joe Woodland says, can't wait to see RVJ respond. Love both of you guys.
I think RVJ's response is going to be a little bit tempered over the next few days. I expect him to continue this ball rolling. Obviously, after these live videos today, he's going to have heard a few things that will probably make him upset. But he'll also heard a lot of things that are very legitimate, that are all about making this match real and making him have the opportunity to get the highest payday in any individual arm wrestling match that's happened so far. So Rob, I believe, is understanding that I'm serious about this, and is understanding that we're doing everything possible. So I don't think you'll see the same tone from Rob in the belittlement of the social media or in the belittlement of this match as a concept. Whether he fears me or not as an arm wrestler, that's fine. He can talk about anything he wants in that way. But I expect you to see a change in the tone from Rob when it comes to this event. And a serious tone will come about where...
Why do you think he'll change his tone?
Because it's a real match, Gary. It's not just bullshit talking about blowing smoke.
I know, but when he was like bringing up the mosquito stuff, that sounds pretty far from changing his tone. Like,
no, the mosquito stuff was before this match, before Neil Pickup spoke to him. All that, like I said, that's Rob's style. Rob can continue down the style. He can create his kilo for kilo brand and all that sort of stuff, and mock whatever it is that I'm doing in the arm wrestling world. That's all well and good. When it comes to the match, that's a different thing. Like I said, through Neil, we're talking, Rob and I, and I'm talking with Michael Todd and Larry and Dubai and third-party sponsors and making this match real. So I expect the tone to change from him in one sense. I expect him to keep trash talking that he thinks I'm a rubbish arm wrestler that can't strict curl for peanuts. I expect that to stay the same, but I do expect him also to then come to a point where he acknowledges the fact that the match is real, the match is happening, and the match is going to be for significant money.
Is it bad that I love the trash talk? I love it.
Oh, that's good. I mean, that's how WAL built its brand too. Like, they like these scenarios, and that's what creates the hype. That's what's creating the growth in arm wrestling.
I've always tried to be yeah. That's it. It's not personal.
That's what
Rob's someone who gets upset very easily. I don't feel like I have to push very hard, and he'll get upset and really bite back hard. But I don't know whether you count that as a victory to him or as a victory to me. I feel like I'm living in his head a lot of the time, where I wasn't even trying to live in his head. Somehow me doing a lift got in there. But anyway, I forget what I was going to say now. But there was a point I had about the sport. Geez. No, it's gone. I can't remember.
while you're thinking that for 1 second. So I watched the video, and I apologize if I missed this, but RVJ said that there's a long line. I kind of briefly tuned in before you guys got on, or Ryan got on, and I heard Paul Lynn, and it's like, is there a legitimate guy who's more deserving than Ryan? But Ryan is...
Yeah, and Gary, I did address this one earlier, but I'll happily do it again. In that, if this was in the WAL, yes, I am not deserving of being the next man to have a shot at Rob. There are other people ahead of me, and I'll happily acknowledge that. People like Justin Bishop, people like Paul Lynn, Storm Chelino, Jordan Sill. These are all guys that are ahead of me in that WAL system, and I would need to climb that rank before facing RVJ. But we're in a very different scenario here.
Yeah.
We're outside the WAL.
Okay, so my point is, let's say I come in, I'm a big sponsor, and I say, I got 50K. Fuck your one-on-one. I want to see you, RVJ, Jordan Seal, Paul. I want to see the top 10 guys go at it. Like, can you beat them all?
Of course I can beat them all.
Trash talk.
I wouldn't be
here. All those mofos. Clicks.
Yes, I can beat all those guys. On the day, those matches could all go either way. But to say, for me, if you expect me to sit here and say I couldn't beat those names, oh my goodness, I might as well retire from the sport now.
So we do have an interesting super chat on this topic. Neo Berry with 5 New Zealand dollars. I don't know what that is, but I'm happy to have them. He says, let's make this awkward. Let's make this awkward. Who does Uncle John, Gary, Jake, and Jason Merlot think will win between Ryan Bowen and RVJ? Now,
this is so easy.
Wait, though. What is it? Is it best of 5, best of 6, best of 7?
6 rounds, and then if it's 3-all, it's the first person to lead by 2. So continue.
WAL or WAF rules?
Running fouls table will probably be a standard table.
Kind of like
not a-
Armwarsy.
Yeah, Arm Wars style. Yep. But like I said, lead by 2. So if it's 3-all, you can keep going until someone leads by 2.
7-inch pads, not WAL pads.
Correct.
Now, while you all think of an answer, everyone keeps saying, "Oh, JKM, that's fantastic. That's just my real name." Head over. I'm the Aussie Arm Wrestler, guys. Just call me the Aussie Arm Wrestler. It's fine. I will go first on the record only because he is my guy. It's got nothing to do with him joining us in the chat. Only because I've experienced firsthand. I think Ryan wins. I think Ryan wins, and you can do it. Aussie patriarchy, you can do it because we're friends and things like that. I have seen firsthand. I haven't seen firsthand how hard RVJ works, and no disrespect to the champ. He is a strong ox, a genetic freak, but I do love a bit of an underground story. That's how we are in Australia. When you get to experience it firsthand, I will say that Ryan Bowen wins. And in saying that, RVJ, if you're watching, please come on the podcast. We've been trying to chat. Just have a
Before you other guys give your answers, I wanted to give you some context. I have a very fortunate set of circumstances that allow me to prepare for RVJ. And those fortunate circumstances come in the form of Lachlan Adair. Lachlan and RVJ are very similar humans in their genetic style. They have similar postures, similar bicep strength ratios to the hand and all that sort of stuff. I have the perfect training partner, and he just so happens to be stronger than Rob. He's a bigger version of Rob. He's a 110 kilo version of the same body that Rob is in. He has a strict curl bigger than Rob's. He has side pressure bigger than Rob's. In all of the mechanical senses, Lachlan Adair is 5%, 10% ahead of Rob on all these lifts. Rob has the experience and more time on the table than Lachlan. But if you think Lachlan is not an experienced arm wrestler, you're very, very, very wrong. He's a very much so a professional standard arm wrestler. So I have the perfect training partner who is stronger than Rob. And trust me, I can beat Lachlan Adair. It goes back and forward.
Okay, I want to go next. Me.
Oh, Gary, go.
Okay, this one's so easy. This is going out. This is going out to Mr. Rob Vigent Jr. Rob Vigento. I pick for the clean sweep, and I'm going to back it up, so don't anyone talk yet. Ryan Bowen smashes Rob Vigent Jr. No chance. And I say this 100% because a mad Rob Vigent Jr. is good for the world. It is good for the internet. It is good for arm wrestling. I know that by picking Ryan Bowen for the clean sweep will mean that tomorrow morning I can wake up and feel like Christmas when Rob Vigent Jr. delivers me more internet YouTube goodness. I know you didn't buy that PS5. You stole that shit from Walmart. I know you cut in line, Rob Vigent. I know it. Give me some YouTube content. Make a video.
I think you'll get some degree of response from that one for sure, Gary.
Jason, your thoughts?
I say that with all due. I love Rob Vigent, but I love his YouTube content more. Give me more.
So I think the one determining factor that is against Ryan is the size of RVJ's hand. I don't think Ryan realizes how big RVJ's hand is. I've gripped up with Ryan. I've gripped up with RVJ. I've pulled him a few times. That's a massive hand. It's a mitt. And that hand is also a clamp. Trying to figure out how to slip out of that hand.
I'm not going to slip it, Jason. I'm just going to pin him.
So with
I
that,
don't need the strap.
I agree. I don't think it. I think that's more going to be determined on RVJ's choice. Because, like I said, trying to get out of his hand.
I think my fingers are sufficient to contain his back pressure. If that is the case, this is where it can all come undone for me. If my fingers cannot match his back pressure load, I'm in trouble because then I have to slip, and I agree with you. It's going to be very hard to slip. But if my fingers are sufficient, which I am so certain they are, because I can contain Lachlan's back pressure on this load with my fingers without them cracking. And I know Lachlan is stronger than Rob. If that is the case, I get to hit sideways, and I am so much faster than Rob off the go that this match will, out of straps, go sideways my direction off the go, and I will supinate hard, throw my shoulder hard with every bit of speed I've got. And if he manages to catch me and stop me, it's going to be down here when he does it. And that's where the match will start.
Yeah, so with that, I do agree. I think you have speed, Ryan, which I've seen that you have been developing. However, I still have to. I'm a big hand guy. I think RVJ has the significant edge.
I think if I tried to top roll, pronate, back pressure, drag, I would get swallowed up big time, and it'd be over like that.
Nice.
My pick is RVJ.
RVJ.
Uncle John?
All right. Unfortunately, it's my turn to go. There's two things that trouble me. And because I know how Ryan is going to train for this, which is probably the most insane more insane than I can possibly imagine. Because I just understand the desire. The desire, right? The question will be, will Rob kick himself in the ass and get to, the same type of position that he needs to get himself to? If they both come at the day of the match and they have both trained the way they need to train, I say match number 1, Ryan Bowen shocks the hell out of everyone and flash pins RVJ. Match number 1. Flash pin, quick, easy. Unfortunately, we all know what happens when RVJ gets embarrassed in match number 1. He tends to go Super Saiyan real freaking quick.
That is awesome. We love Super Saiyan RVJ.
Right? RVJ takes the next 2. But during those 2 matches, Ryan Bowen, like he often does, is able to terminate or calculate exactly what he needs to do, because Rob is going to get caught up. Rob is going to get that Boston going in his blood veins. He's going to get those 2 wins, but Ryan is going to be able to obtain enough information to then take the following 2 in big grinders. So that puts us at what? 3-1 for 3-2. So that puts us at 3-2. And you're doing best of 6, but you have to win by 2. So I then say, oh,
you get another flash pin from me in the 6th round. That's what happens then.
Uncle John, it's okay to say RVJ. Ryan will not cancel the sponsorship to your show.
I think
you're not backing him. Ryan's an adult. I think he can deal with people not backing him.
How about 8-6 RVJ? 14 matches. 14 matches.
Honestly, I grew up as a tennis fan. My favorite all-time match was Mark Philippoussis beating Pete Sampras 32-30 in the 5th round. Back when I was in high school somewhere. I want a match like that. Give me that for sure. Where it just comes down to pure heart in the end.
I just have a caveat to make sure that my life doesn't get ended. RVJ, I said that because I love you and your YouTube channel, and I know that you'll get more subscribers if you maintain anger. So I think it'd be a good match. I'm not as knowledgeable as these guys. It depends on if it's the RVJ that I knew, or is he is he sitting back chilling like you guys have stated. But I do know the RVJ. I root for you. So I hope you guys get your 50K, and I just hope for a good, exciting match. And so I know it's not going to be a sweep. And I know you paid for your SP5 Sony PlayStation.
Yeah, that was the quickest backtrack in the history of backtracking.
Don't beat me up.
Gary. You just totally whipped out on that.
I know. I'm sorry. I got scared. I got scared.
No, Rob is definitely winning the internet at the moment. His rants are quite hilarious. They're funny. They're funny, and they're very entertaining. So that's why I'm happy to go on record and say that Ryan wins, because I like super angry, jacked off Rob Vidgen Jr. I think the man with the 3 letters is hilarious when he's lost it. I don't want to see a calm Rob. Like when he did that video and he was giving respect to the WAL competitors, we watched it and we thought, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And then we just kind of ignored it. And then he just was calling people mosquitoes and Walmart and things like that and lost his shit. We love it. Need more of that, RVJ.
RVJ, you might think about just changing your channel to Angry Rob and just maintain a constant state of anger no matter what you talk about. To the moon, SpaceX trajectory.
Oh, Gary, you've been called out in the comments. Mizal has said, Gary, $200 on Bowen. Take the bet.
He's picking Bowen.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. If Rob Vision's trained, I'd lean RVJ. If he's trained, I don't know if he is trained or not.
When was the last time we saw RVJ pull? Chuck Ryder? What was before that?
Chuck Ryder. Yeah, Chuck Ryder's the last one.
And that was at least a year ago. What was before that? What was his last WAL?
WAL.
Justin.
Yeah.
So furthermore, nobody freaking knows anything because it's been a million years since we've seen anything happen. Furthermore, just for the record.
Absolutely right.
So you guys answered my chat. I heard your answer. I was having dinner with the family. So you're just going big or going home 50K?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
we have an opportunity right now, Gary, to really change the status quo on what the sport can achieve. And I think that a lot of this, like COVID forced us down this path, but we have amazing, you got to take your hat off to Larry Wheels right now. Larry has really changed the way the sport is being perceived. More people right now are watching the sport, and more people with significant interest from a third-party perspective are watching the sport as well. And so we have a great opportunity right now to evolve the sport for the better for all of us. And so, yeah, we're going all in. I don't want this to be a 5-10K match. No, I want this to change the sport.
I was talking to Travis. I heard a little birdie tell me that the Levon Michael match was going to happen. And I thought, I don't know if it was simultaneous, but I did think they too had the opportunity to use this to do some magic. I mean,
I don't know. I'm not privy to any information that the rest of the internet isn't. I speak to Michael regularly. And I know that he's trying very much so for that match, and so much so that that this match, myself and Rob, may end up being an undercard to that match if it was to come about. So we will see, but I don't know where that's at yet.
Well, listen, if you could make it an undercard, oh my, I would pay for that. I'd pay. I'd watch it. I got to be honest. So. Hats off, man. Let's go get that shit. And then when you land that 50K sponsor, let them know ARMTV needs money. All right, guys. Hey, we're going to wrap up the show. Ryan, thanks for coming in. You're welcome. Any Tuesday we do open call-in talking about just all the cool shit. You keep on doing what you're doing. Uncle John, I don't care what he says. He says you were trying to milk those views by getting some shady forum in there. So, keep doing what you're doing. We'll keep talking about it. And I appreciate everyone in the chat for coming on and tipping Mr. Uncle John. That's it.
Everybody.
Thanks, Gary. Hey, ARMTV, before we go, seeing that Rob loves lift comparisons, can we make a raw elbow-based side pressure one? I want to see what Rob can do, because I'll bet you right now that I got at least 30% more than he's got.
You putting 30% more.
30% more. It might even crack the magical 44. I don't think that man's elbow can stand anywhere near what mine can.
More challenges, more views, more clicks. I love it. I love it. Okay, what's the challenge? Put it out one more time. Say it.
Supinated raw elbow-based side pressure.
I don't even know what that means. You heard it, Rob. He does 30% more. He said that you'll one up by an inch no matter what he does. So you just said, not just an inch, Rob, 30%. I'm big, Rob, rig. All right, guys. Good night. Rob Vision.
Okay.
Thanks,
you know we
everybody.
love you. Big fans.
Good luck with it, Ryan.
Thanks, Vince.
Love you
All right.
guys.
Appreciate the support.
Good night.
Bang!
Good night, guys. All right. That's going to Oh,
We're out.
how do I turn it off?
Thanks for having me, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, buddy. Are we still live right now, Gary?
I can't figure out how to shut it off. I lost all my screens.
Oh, you lost the screen. Now we're
Okay, there we go. Okay, we're gone.
Nice.
80